Is my camera in focus? I'm just double checking.
I was just thinking that actually.
That's right. Yeah.
There
sorry.
you go. You're good. I think you were slightly fuzzy, but it was a kind of beautiful fuzzy that makes you look even better than being in sharp focus. I personally prefer myself slightly out of focus at all times.
Me too. Yeah. I have this thing where my face just goes red. I don't know why, and it's doing it right now. I just go absolutely red, and I think it's just the room I'm sat in. It's just...
No, you can't tell. I think you know your face better than everyone else. That's the problem.
Thanks.
Well, listen, man. But first of all, we're kind of in it. We've done that weird cold open thing where we just started speaking and we're already in the podcast. It's happening as we speak.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for making the time to chat with me. I appreciate it very, very much. I've been talking to lots of creators over the past couple of weeks, and I'm always interested to hear new perspectives on why we do what we do. And we usually start right at the beginning. So we go back to Baby Jack, Child Jack, roaming around. You're like, yeah, that's basically it. It's time to lie down on the couch and discuss all the reasons you got into gaming. What was your kind of first or early gaming experience that you can remember? What was the first exposure to that?
My dad had Jumpman on his computer installed back in the day. He had the original. I think it was like the one before Mario. He had that installed on his computer. Yeah. I took a love to it straight away. And then shortly after was playing games a lot from my dad's computer. He used to love Tomb Raider and all this kind of stuff, adventurous kind of games. But I like the little cartoon character kind of games. Yeah. For example, I mean, if you look in the background on my shot, I have a few Sonic the Hedgehog references. I'm a big Sonic the Hedgehog freak. Yeah. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. I've been a big fan of him since I was a child. And 29 now. 29.
Still young. It's good.
Exactly. That's what it is. But I guess my earliest memories of just playing games are just from my dad's computer, having him sat in the dining room, just sit and play, but watch him play some of his games as well.
Yes. Yeah. So you're a Sonic guy. So I'm guessing at some point, based on your background there, Nintendo comes quite strongly into this. So what was the first Nintendo console or handheld that you had?
I never really owned a Nintendo till I was like until in my teenage years. When I had a GameCube when I was like 12, I believe. Nintendo GameCube. I used to go around my friend's house. My friend James had a Nintendo 64. And we used to go around there and play, obviously, the old classic Sonic games, Super Mario 64, the classics. Loved them. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know what it is about Sonic the Hedgehog in general. I just generally think it's because he's just a vibrant, fast blue hedgehog. And I feel like a lot of my personality is often reflected on that.
Yeah. He's just aspiring to be a vibrant, fast blue hedgehog. I think that's these are good goals to have in life. You know, I think why not that?
Exactly.
That's the best goal to have, I think. So you were playing on Nintendo's. Like, was it because you mentioned you started out on your dad's PC? Do you think like PC gaming was? It feels quite odd to me to start out on PC, although I'm sure there's lots of people that do that. It's something usually people progress to. Have you progressed to PC gaming, or did you stick with consoles?
I started with
What
consoles.
did that journey look like?
Funnily enough, yeah, I had a GameCube for like years. I used to play that all the time. Played all the classic GameCube games, and there lots of people had the old classic Nintendos, but I had a GameCube. Super Mario, with a lot of them, Sonic and Shadow, Sonic Adventure, and all that kind of stuff. Those are it's mostly with my games console. And then I moved to Xbox 360 in later years, and I think, it's only since I've become a proper like content creator, full-time content creator, video editor, that I've actually gone out and bought myself a giant computer. And obviously, seeing as I've got it here, why not give gaming a go again?
Game on it, yeah, exactly.
Funnily enough, before I did even do the live streams that I'm doing now, I wasn't so much of a crazy gamer, if that makes sense. I favored I kind of favored doing other bits and pieces like filming and editing over gaming. Yeah, I liked creating like silly videos all the time, and I've always kind of wanted to dabble a bit. I used to watch a bunch of YouTubers when I was young. I just wanted to make videos just like that. So I guess that's kind of why I've started getting back into it at a later age.
So why was gaming? I mean, having watched a bit of your content, it's not 100% focused on gaming, really. In many ways, it's quite varied on the bits that I've watched, which is great. But why was it that gaming was like the medium that you chose to go? Well, let me use that as a kind of a crux to get into content creation.
I guess I've been making content for a while now in general, and I'm one of these people that picks up a project, gets really bored of it quickly, and pops it down. I've got loads of unfinished projects that I've got just hidden on a hard drive somewhere.
Yeah.
But with gaming, I started off by making this video in 2001. In fact, I made a series of different videos, but one of them in particular was, can I get 10,000 followers in 31 days? Right. So then I made video content every single day of me doing random stuff, following TikTok trends, and I managed to gain about 5,000 followers from it, which was an achievement.
Yeah.
But it wasn't quite 10, which isn't too bad. But then I realized after getting 1,000 that I could start going live, and I've attempted making videos before, but they just take so long to make. That's kind of why I've steered away from doing the YouTube video game editing.
Yeah.
It just takes ages, man. I just wanted to do something that was quick and instant.
Yeah.
So I thought, with live streaming, I'm technically still doing that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, having an audience to talk to, and then having instant content out there. So like a 10-second reaction video takes like 10 minutes for me to make, whereas making an actual full-on YouTube video would take hours.
Yeah.
Creative energy.
Do you when you thinking in terms of the YouTube stuff, when you think of if you were to have made content on gaming on YouTube, what would the format of that have been? Because presumably, if you're saying, this would have taken a long time, it wasn't just going to be kind of VODs and gameplay footage. Would it have been challenges? Would it have been like where was your head at in terms of this is why this would take too long?
Oh, because it was always because of my job as well. Yeah. Got in the way. I worked at a big radio station, and quite a lot of the time, my time was taken up by doing videos for them.
Yeah.
By the time you finish at like 5:30, the last thing you want to do is touch an editing program and edit more videos of yourself. Filming it was fun. I filmed a lot of Minecraft videos. The thing is, can I swear on this podcast?
Of course you can. Go for it.
Friggin' shite at games. I think
I can't believe. Sorry, I'm gonna have to pause you. I can't believe you just asked me if you could swear, and then the best you could give me was friggin' shite.
Friggin' shite. I know.
I thought you were gonna drop some heavy hitters on me. That's fine. We can stick with that.
Friggin' shite. I'll say the C word if you want me to. I'm gonna drop
that. I mean, I might actually bleep that one out. That will definitely get me in trouble on.
There's like a level of like swear words that you just don't go near, and I think the C word is just the word you just don't touch.
I honestly love it in real life. To be honest, a little bit too much. I drop it. I drop it a lot.
I like it when you get a very well-spoken posh person say the C word, because that's like it's
so inoffensive. I think when they do it, I think this is why I think that we're going on a bit of a tangent here. But the very, very working class people and the very, very posh people often get on quite well. They just have a similar vocabulary. It's very sweary and very kind of, but it's just part of. They kind of see swearing as terms of endearment. It's not. It's not an offensive.
It's a compliment.
Thing. Yeah, for sure. Where were we? So we're talking about.
I was always friggin' shite at video games, so I thought that'd be kind of like my USP. So you should say I like games, but I'm just so bad at them. I'm terrible at every game I've played. I'm shit at them basically. So
I think of myself as like significantly below average on almost everything I play.
Oh, you should see some of the people that I know that actually play games. I was playing Baldur's Gate the other day, and legit. I think that's one of the games that you do literally need to research before playing.
I feel the same about like Elden Ring. That was my first Souls game, and I was like, it took me probably 20-25 hours to go. Oh, this is what you do. Oh, okay, all right, it makes sense.
I remember just like I did it through a live the other day, and it was so bad. And I was just making everyone watch me just repeatedly do things that you're not meant to do. And then, somehow didn't die, which is incredible. I don't know.
That is incredible. Incredible. But I died roughly 8,000 times in that game. I think it's ridiculous.
Dude.
It was horrible. So I suppose let's split this into two bits really. You've talked a little bit about your career outside of content creation, which actually sounds like it's some of the skills that you're using now were developed elsewhere. So if we go back before you started creating content for yourself,
yes,
like what were you doing? Were you an editor? Were you what did that look like? Without going into the specifics of this is where you were and this is what you're doing, whatever you're comfortable with. But I'm interested to go, okay, well, you mentioned editing and stuff. Was that where you were at? Is that what you were doing?
I actually started off doing videos for weddings. So I did, started off doing the old wedding photography stuff, wedding videography, and then worked for a pantomime company.
the standard progression there for wedding videographers into pantomime. I like it. Yeah,
I'd often be behind the camera filming and editing pieces together. I was always quite shy as well because I was like 18, 20, and I was a little bit like not threatened as such, but I really didn't want to F up as new into the industry, so I often came across as quite awkward to my bosses. Yeah. So I just kind of hid behind my computer monitor, editing videos, creating 3D animation and all that kind of stuff. And then later on down the years, became a blue coat entertainer for a holiday camp near where I live, and then discovered that I kind of enjoy entertaining people. I've always kind of been somewhat of a performer. I used to perform Michael Jackson routines when I was of the age of 13. I used to be an impersonator of Michael Jackson when I was really young. Can't do them anymore though. I've lost. I've got the dad moves are well and truly kicking in, despite the fact I don't have a child.
I mean, it sometimes happens. It's like preparing yourself for later on in your life.
Yeah. But yeah, I started to discover that I like doing like performance-y kind of stuff. So then I later on, as I progressed and I got media work elsewhere, I started then dabbling with making my own content. So I'd make silly videos with my friends on the weekends, all of which I've deleted now because the video content I used to make with my friends was so cringy. Can't even watch it back now.
Do you not feel like part of you have you heard that if you're not embarrassed by the first things you produce, you didn't do it right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you'd never press go on anything. You'd never upload anything because you'd always be worried that it's not good enough, or you might be embarrassed about it in the future.
There's some bits I look back on. I thought, that was actually quite a genius idea. But there's other things. I made a podcast with a few of my friends, and I just look back at some of the video stuff I did for that, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy has no clue. This guy has no clue.
So you were editing. I mean, how did you get into that at such a young age to be doing, wedding videos and because I feel like with content creation you end up using absolutely everything that you've ever learned ever.
Yes.
When you create content for yourself, it's like I say this all the time, but I really think it's true. If you're a brand hiring a content creator to do something for you, you're hiring a video editor, a cameraman, a camera person. Sound designer, you have graphic designer, all of these different things that go into it that you don't really consider, especially for short form content that's often viewed as a much rawer thing. Some people do that.
Trades.
What made you get into the kind of video like shooting and editing? Was it just something that you picked up when you were younger?
Very young, actually. I remember like I used to look up to my cousin. I have a cousin, and we don't speak that much anymore, which is quite sad. But I had I used to look up to him. I used to like praise. I used to like I used to like watch him and just the way he was. And he was one of these people that he inspired me a lot. He was very funny, and he used to chat. Yeah, we used to hang out all the time. Yeah. And a lot of things we used to do. We used to like film silly things. When I used to go around his house on the weekend, we used to film like little dumb videos. Yeah. And we'd often make really crap videos on Windows Movie Maker. Yeah. And there's already a few videos I can't find when we did that. And I think he's kind of semi-responsible for the fact that I enjoy doing video editing so much, because you can just create so much from loads of crap you make. Yeah. You can film the most cringiest, crappiest little video, but edit into something so funny and great. And we used to do a lot of that back in the day. Yeah, and he introduced me to this game called The Movies as well. I don't know if you've heard of The Movies game. It used to be an old classic computer game. In fact, that is kind of like maybe where the two meet. There used to be a game on PC called The Movies, and you used to be able to make your own Hollywood studio and your own, literally your physical studio on this game with all these sets and all that kind of stuff. And the idea is you have to try and keep making the studio money and making films. Yeah. And you can make your own little character like The Sims, and you get them to perform. You can do voiceover. You can get them to do stunts and crazy effects. Yeah. And we used to make a ton of them back in the day. And then I think by just doing so much of that got me in love with the idea of making my own videos and being in front of the camera and presenting and being a lunatic, basically, and just performing and all that kind of jazz. And then later on down the line, became a Michael Jackson impersonator.
It's all linking together. So you became a blue coat.
Yeah.
I mean, that shines through. You're a very effervescent and kind of energetic and performative person. I was quite surprised to hear that you were shy, but obviously that's just you at a young age, just finding your way in the world.
Oh yeah, I was so shy. I am literally a shy person. I quite at the same time I'm like an extrovert. I'm an extrovert, but also it depends. I guess it's just people that I don't know. With my old bosses, I just because they were so like I saw them as quite high up and they know what they're doing. Yeah. I just thought they're just hiring some dweeb that has a dream but doesn't know anything. So yeah,
slightly kind of intimidated by their
and quite
stature.
Often today I still get that in certain places. With certain people I work with, I've worked with some people that I just for some reason completely shut off. Like I've worked with even like celebrities and just people that I've worked for like some big brands and all that kind of stuff, and just there's certain people that I just for some reason cannot just snap out of that shy awkwardness. It's really weird.
I think again it's a fairly consistent thing, not just of content creators but people who do anything performance wise or creative, is that there are two sides of the same coin. I'm the same, very extroverted in some ways, but often in I'm happy to be on a stage in front of 200 people, but I would find it more difficult to walk up to 4 or 5 people and insert myself into a conversation. I hate that. Yeah. But if you put me on, if you say, right, go and walk on there and present a thing, or go and MC an event or whatever, absolutely fine. I would just do it. I have no concerns over that whatsoever.
So when you said you've been on stage in front of 200 people, have you done performance then?
I did stand up when I was in my early 20s.
How did I know you was going to say stand-up comedy? I had a feeling you've done stand-up for some reason.
Yeah, I don't think I ever quite made it to 200. Actually, I might have done that many people once when there's a gong show at the Comedy Store in Leicester Square. Which is an awful experience, by the way.
Oh no, I advise any new comedians don't go near that.
It's so horrible. It's such like the antithesis of what I felt like I was trying to do. I think I always it was the same when I've done music, I've done stand up, I've done lots of creative endeavors, and when I was a musician I was like, I really want to be like Jimi Hendrix, but I was much more like David Gray. And I think when I was doing comedy I was up to people like Stuart Lee, who I just thought was the pinnacle of comedians, and it takes so long to get to that point. I did it for about a year fairly consistently and had so much fun. It was either wonderful or horrible. Like there was no real in between. But yeah, the Gong Show they are particularly kind of horrible, soul crushing things.
Oh yeah, totally. I can't even picture anything worse. To be fair, that's just I've seen people go up on that Gong stage and their whole career shattered.
Yeah, it's tough. And it's also like a very specific thing, It's a very specific. If you're doing like laugh a minute stuff, if you're doing like set up punchline, it's consistent. You can do really well in those Gong shows. But if you're trying to, build an arc of a story over 5 minutes, it doesn't work, because they just like, we haven't laughed for a bit, so we're gonna, heckle,
boo you off stage, and it's dreadful.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it seems like a fairly consistent thing to be this mix between very extroverted in some ways and also very introverted in other ways, you know?
Oh yeah, totally. Absolutely. I could class myself as an extrovert, but can switch on the introvert when I want to.
Yeah.
I like to hide away in my room sometimes. And this is why I can't, it's also like, it's weird being a streamer because also you're talking to like a monitor on your screen. You're not really talking to those people in real life.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I'm like, I've been told I am the same in person, but like I do feel like inside I'm like, oh, a little bit held back a little bit when I meet people in person.
Yeah. It's definitely harder to be. I think I always describe it as like your stream persona. For some people, their stream persona is completely different, right? And it is, you know, they are putting on an act. Someone like Dr. Disrespect, for example, it's like, oh, that is a character that he's playing. Yeah. Fine. And I think for most other people, like your stream persona is a slightly heightened version of who you are. If you're trying to do like be an authentic streamer, it's like, oh, I would react in this way, but I'm expanding it a little bit for the purpose of this performance.
Show business.
Exactly. I mean, I always look at like content creation is watching a film or a TV series and consuming content that's been created on TikTok or wherever or YouTube is like watching a film or a TV series, and watching a live stream is watching a live performance. It's watching a comedy gig. It's watching a theatre show. It's you know, those are the differences. It's between the two things, and
oh yeah, totally.
It's they kind of both work hand in hand, but it's definitely a performance. So the blue coats. Talk to me about this is going to be a tangent filled episode. I think I've got that feeling, Jack. and I don't think either of us are going to prevent it from happening. So talk to me about the blue coats. Like, why was that? Just again a need to perform? Was there a specific end goal you were looking for there?
I was working in retail at the time. I remember. So actually, I didn't really mention this as well. I got made redundant from my pantomime job, and then I got slung out, and I had like only little experience, and I was like, damn, I'm now working back in retail again. I worked in River Island, where I was from stage, and I thought I just lost everything and all that kind of jazz. So I was gutted, absolutely gutted. And I thought, I still kind of like, there's still kind of bits I haven't dabbled with. I've lost the media job, but what do I do next? So then obviously I was working in River Island at the time. Hey, I liked it. I'm not going to say it just wasn't really, I don't like retail. I just don't like it at all. It's not really my thing. Watch me not be able to accept any other retail job after this. But like, yeah, I didn't really like it. So I was looking at other jobs, and I found Heart. You know Heart FM?
Yeah.
They were doing the street team kind of thing, and they needed some Heart Angels, as they called them, street team. So I applied for that and got a job with them, and then kind of did stuff off the street. So like it was basically go around and getting people to sign, like get involved with competitions. It was pretty much just going up to people and just chatting about, have you heard this new competition, sign up for it now, that kind of stuff. And then I realized that I kind of liked being more presentable and all that kind of stuff, and obviously saw Heart being a radio station as a foot in the door. The only thing is with this job, I didn't really have, I wasn't really doing much presenting, and I wanted to get into that. So then I found another job online, Blue Coat entertainer at Pontins in Canberra Sands. They're closed down now, but bloody hell. When I say a place hasn't like, so what's that saying when it hasn't quite left the 80s? How like it's stuck in the past. Yeah. You turn up to this bloody place and it's just a big purple building. All the apartments are like run down apartments with it was an absolute gross vile place to live. There's absolutely nobody out there that could convince me or anyone else who would turn up on the first day that it's actually a luxurious. It's the complete opposite of what you think a luxurious holiday was. Yeah, it was very cheap. So basically, I was a blue coat entertainer, cheap holiday for families to come along. So I was often doing my own doing shows of other blue coats. Presenting most evenings, dancing around. I know all the party dances and that kind of stuff, and I did that for a solid 6 months, and then after 6 months I got kind of sick doing it, so I left and went traveling, and then was in the hopes of coming back to get more media work, which I later did. But like the blue coat stuff was like just kind of a stepping stone to see how far I could push my personality a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of the people I know fairly, a lot of the people that I know dearly, like my sister and all that kind of stuff, who watch me on these things, whether it's being on live or talking to new people or meeting new people, will say that I put on a more of an enthusiastic version of myself to try and win the hearts of many people. I'm like that anyway, but I feel like I definitely put on a little bit more of me on top of me.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that's exactly what we're saying there, right? It is a performance. I think just because you're sat in front of your computer, it is a performance.
And being a blue coat, being amongst, like, being in costumes, dancing on stage, entertaining children helped me discover that about myself. And I'd say a lot of what you see on my streams is what I was like as a blue coat.
I love it. You're bringing it back. You'll be the reviver of Pontins and blue coats.
Yeah.
So, at what point you obviously working in media and working in entertainment, which is you're already in that creative endeavor. What was the thing that made you go, I'm going to give TikTok a go, I'm going to give YouTube a go, I'm going to start making these things for myself, I'm going to start making this content for myself? Where did that start?
Fun enough, I've because like I said, I've always made like content. I've always like given up on projects because I'm doing hand signals on the table, but my hands are cut out, so I'll do them here. I've always I've always kind of been into like making content. It's just that I've never really believed that no one's going to be interested in what I do because nobody knows who I am. But also, what also is a bit of the thing that kind of, so basically, if you don't start, you don't get anywhere with it. And unfortunately, I've always started, but then just not bothered continuing it. And I feel like had I continued doing these projects as a youngster, maybe I could have been a little bit further than I was in terms of, I don't know, having more subscribers on YouTube or doing stuff. But I've just never kept up the motivation. So I've always kind of made it a thing that I've done in the background of what I do full time. And it wasn't until like I started working for companies like Capital FM and Heart. I'd work with a lot of other people that were like well known in the industry who have built a following on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And I'd see the stuff that they'd make, and I'd be like, I'm not trying to just shame anyone, but some stuff that people make as content creators, I'm like, what is this? This is shit. This content shit. It's so. But like they'll post it and it will get millions of views. It's like everyone loves it, and I'm like, so then it kind of like switched my brain a little bit and maybe realized that maybe I could try a little bit harder and make better content, or just make content and see what works basically. Yeah. So I did a series of like 31-day challenges on YouTube, and they did well. They did relatively well. And then later on down the line, kind of started experimenting with TikTok, because obviously then TikTok was like it really exploded during lockdown. So whilst I was free, I did the odd video here and there, and then the odd video did well, the other video didn't. It was one of them. And then obviously it wasn't until I saw I could go live that I thought, okay, this is kind of like, I've tried making content a lot in the past and it hasn't really hit off, and I've lost motivation. Maybe this could do something, and I've been doing it straight for 2 years now. So like, and I love it. I still love it.
This is the project that I
love the most. Yeah. The going live. I'm not as great with it as other people. Like you, for example, you go every day. You do every day from 1 p.m. Peter Webby, for example, he streams every day, and he's starting to get really big on it. I also know a couple other streamers that are on it every day. I can't do that at the moment because of the way I am and the way my life is. So I do as much as I can possible. But it's a project that I'm a little bit more consistent with than I have been in the past.
What do you think the difference has been? Have you managed to like pinpoint what the difference is with this? Because I'm very similar. I've done lots of things. I used to describe myself as a Renaissance man. It's a very like arrogant way of going. I like to do lots of different things, and whether that's art or music or or comedy or whatever that might be. And this is the one thing where I've stuck to it consistently for a long time. I've made videos consistently, every day for the past year probably. Have you been able to pinpoint why this is the project that you've managed to maintain and the others weren't?
Well, one because I think it connects a little bit to my childhood. It reminds me of the enjoyment I get from playing video games, despite the fact that 90% of the time I'm playing a horror game, I still have the enjoyment of playing games.
Yeah.
It's easy to do. You literally just click a button. I've got cameras already set up from when I've done my video work. I've had it all built here since before I did all this kind of stuff. And it's the instant gratification you get from people when they come in. I've got a community of people on Discord now, like you have, of people that just chat and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of where I wanted to be when I was making those YouTube videos back in the day. I wanted that like straight away. Yeah. I wanted that right now. Like, I wanted to like post my first video, get millions of views, and build a community straight away. I wanted it. I often looked up to like YouTubers like Tobuscus and PewDiePie and all that kind of stuff, and they had like these communities of people that would like enjoy the same thing, talk about Tobuscus, and it's kind of one of those things that I've always wanted to do, if that makes sense. And with TikTok live streaming in general, like I mean, I probably was a little bit late to the Twitch game, but like with TikTok, because it's an all new and brand new, I was able to do that quickly, quite rapidly. I've only been doing it for, well, I probably could be in a much better place now if I not gone traveling for 4 months, but but last year when I started doing it, literally the numbers were going up, and to be fair, it's a slow growth. I'm building every day. Every time I go live, there's always a new person that comes in. I introduce my Discord. There's always a new person, and then they become a regular. And it's just quite nice to see like a community of people that I'm slowly building. Yeah. And to be perfectly honest, it's weird. It's because I talk to them as if they're like my friends. Yeah. It's probably because it's quite a small community. But like, I've got like 157 people in my Discord right now. That isn't a lot, but I have 17,000 people on TikTok that follow me. I have the same people that come in all the time to my lives. And I just like that whole... It's like catch up basically coming on. And most of the time, I even spoke to some of them today. A lot of them said, we don't actually tune into your live anymore to watch the game. If anything, we don't really find the games interesting anymore. We just sit and chat to you. So I'm like, okay, cool, that's great.
I think that's the ideal situation, though, is you know, if you're dependent on the game, there's lots of people I've spoken to, you know, and good friends of mine that they've really focused in on, they've built their channel, built their content around a specific game, and it's really difficult to move away from that. You know, when you built your whole brand and persona around a specific game, if that falls out of favor or you want to move away from that because, you know, as good as any game is, playing it full time for years can be, you know, can grind on you. It's difficult to move away from it.
I also find as well, like, there's only so many horror games that they have out there that are actually decent to play. I completed the Resident Evil games, so I'm like, okay, well, I can't play them again. There's a few other games that I've gone through again, but I'm like saying to myself, after I've gone through it this one last time, I'm never going to touch this game again. Yeah. There's obviously, like you said, there's people out there that just stick to one game. They put themselves into such a small niche that you can't really do much else with it once you've explored it.
Yeah. I mean, fair play to you for playing the horror games. My community is always asking me to do it. I hate them.
Dude, I promise you now, and I used to hate. I could never see myself ever doing it until one day I played this game called Choo Choo Charles. It's the first horror game I actually experimented with live. Yeah, that game freaked the hell out of me. But as the games got worse, I feel like which is really weird because I still do get scared at games. They do make me jump. I have chucked my headphones over there in the other side of the room from jump scares. But in general, like I feel like I've become quite numb to a lot of things. I know how some games work, and especially indie games. Yeah. You can just tell when there's going to be a jump scare, when there's going to be a cut to this. I don't know about you, but I've played. Obviously, you said you haven't really played many horror games, but I've realised there's a number of horror games that I have played where they've definitely used the exact same house in every horror. Especially in the indie game department. Yeah, like in the indie game realm, like there's so many like horror games I've played. I'm like, I've been in this house before. It's the exact same layout, the exact same furniture. Yeah, they've just used a free house build from some free loyalty website, and I've just used that in a horror game. I'm like, okay, I know what's gonna come now.
I mean, I played Silent Breath was the last one I played. The game where it can hear your mic and if you scream. In fact, I think you were doing some of that recently. But yeah, Silent Breath was. I don't watch horror films. I don't like being scared. But actually, what was worse than that in some ways is I played Pools recently. The game where you just walk around the abandoned pools. Yeah. And There's 0 jump scares at all throughout the whole game, and it didn't matter how much I knew that. They created such a tense environment. It just freaked me out because I was like, it feels like there should be a jump scare around any of these corners, but there never will be. And then just tiny little weird things like I came across some ladders that are underwater and these hands come up and point you towards the exit. And I was like, I'm so freaked out, man. Yeah. I'm not in a good place with this game. I can't play this.
I think just the whole idea of falling into the back rooms or the pool rooms would be just dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah,
I hate that so much.
It's terrible. So how would you describe your content now? Like you're making content regularly. You're making short form videos. Are you doing much long form stuff on YouTube or?
I've started dabbling. I'm actually in the process of making my next vlog now. I've got a friend who does vlogging, and I've always kind of seen vlogging as a thing that people do once they have like a big following. Like because I don't see how any normal average Joe would want to watch Jack doing his day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
But my friend does it all the time, and she's discovered that she's built more of a following from just uploading videos to YouTube than she has from her other channel. So I thought I'll give it a go. But yeah. I feel like I don't know where I'm going with TikTok at the moment. Yeah. I love making the horror game little clips and all that kind of stuff, and that's probably predominantly going to live on TikTok now. But I've mixed it up a little bit. I like doing like the daily vlogs and just making little videos and all that kind of stuff of stuff I do, whether that be interesting or not. But I like to try and make something that looks quite mundane into something quite interesting. And I guess that's my content.
Yeah, I mean like you can see the level of skill with the editing. I'm like, as someone who's like self-taught on the editing side, and you sometimes you see something, you go, okay, how do I do that? And you go and learn, and you try to learn something new with every edit you do. And hopefully things get better over time. But you can really see it's very clean, it's very polished, it's very your use of graphics, your use of sound, it's all very, very polished. So you can see that skill behind it. And I think you're right. It's I have a vlog, and I mainly made it because I was like, maybe, well, I got made redundant, and I was like, okay, I'm going to tell people what it's really like to try and do this full time. I'm going to try and be as honest as possible. So it's more a thing for like my community to go, hey, this is what's going on, this is what I'm going through. And there is a weird thing where it's the stuff that you don't really expect to do as well seems to do quite well often. The stuff that you place less value on seems to have more value to people outside. I don't know if you've had that experience yet on videos where you've gone, it seems to be something a lot of people have. I put 0 effort into this. It was a quick thing that I did, and I wasn't maybe going to do it. And that's the thing that goes viral. That's the thing that gets all the views. And
yeah, I've had that a few times. I've basically filmed my friend Lauren picking up dog poo in my back garden and made like a chaotic kind of just mess of a video of it. And it was like a minute long. And it was originally like a 10-minute video of her just us all panicking because we don't want to touch the poo and she's picking up the dog poo. It's us screaming and her throwing it everywhere. It's a very chaotic video. 10-minute video cut down into 1 minute, and it's honestly I think it's got like how many? It's got that got quite a lot of views on my TikTok, and I was like, that's what people like. that is just I'm just looking for it now, but like it was one of those videos that I literally just thought I'd do off the cusp just for a joke, and it did really well, and I was like, for fuck's sake. I'm trying to find it now. It's on my phone somewhere. Yeah, 15.5k views of my mate picking up poo in the garden. It has nothing. It's like there's nothing in this video that's trending or anything whatsoever. It's just my mate picking up poo in the garden.
Yeah.
It kind of pees you off a little bit.
It does, yeah.
It really does pee you off. Because later on down the line, I'm making all these videos of me playing games and other things and don't do anywhere near as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, and I think that's why I was try to return to. You got to return to why you started doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
As to like your measure for whether you think the content is good or not. Did I enjoy making it? Do I think it's a good product?
Yeah.
Would I have made it if it got 0 views? I mean, hopefully the answer is yes. I made it because I like the process of making it, and I think that's where I try to focus. Although it's hard because you do, if you put a lot of effort into something and then it doesn't get the response that you're hoping for. It's always
that's the most frustrating thing. Like, you'll spend hours on a video that it looks good, it looks good, and you put loads of effort into it, and then it just it flops. And you're like, and it's kind of like you end up blaming the apps as well. You're like, why is it not pushing it out to people and all that kind of jazz? Because then you scroll through the feed and you see someone like, is it Bella Porch doing something with her nose and she gets like fucking millions of views? I'm like, it's always like that, or just some girl mimicking some lyrics to a song, or I don't know, something ridiculous. It's just it just gets millions, and it just begins to grate you a little bit.
Yeah. So when you said you're kind of not 100% sure where your TikTok's going at the moment. Are you experimenting with new stuff? Are you creating content with the intent of growth, or are you just creating things as and when they come to you? Like, what's your process with that?
A bit of mix and match, to be fair. With the intent of, I want it to grow. I want whatever I'm doing, I want it to grow. And funnily enough, a lot of the videos I have made have got me like jobs in my freelance world. Right. So a lot of clients have contacted me saying, we love your street interview stuff. Do you want to do it for our brand? I had the Wombles of Wimbledon Way contact me a little while ago about that, which was quite jokes. I've had a few offers like that. It's been great. But yeah, it's just, I don't know what I'm doing with it at the moment. I do like doing what I'm currently doing, but the street interview stuff is something that I really love doing. But yeah, I'm doing it just. I think the street interview and all that kind of stuff is where I like doing it for the fact that I love just talking to people and presenting on camera. The video game stuff has an element of that in it as well, but obviously doing it because people have started watching me because they love watching me play horror games.
Yeah. I think that is, you speak about that, the street interviewing stuff like it is nothing, but that is, when I was talking about me earlier being introverted in some ways, that is the bit that I would absolutely, it fills me with horror, because there's a couple of things that I've wanted to do. I still want to do. There's ideas that I've had where it's like, this requires me to go out in public and speak to people, and it terrifies me. Do you not? Does it not terrify you?
Yeah, my first ever street interview was with when I say first ever, it was only like 2 years ago. But I started doing them 2 years ago, the street interview stuff, and it was for a men's mental health company called a men's mental health campaign called I Am Whole. Yeah. And believe me, the first few times I went out on the streets with a microphone, I remember I approached this American lady, and she had the same energy as I did. Yeah. I went up to her and she was like, "Hi!" I was like. And as soon as she did that, I forgot every single question I had implanted in my head. And I just looked at her with this mic, at the camera, at the mic, and I was like, I'm really sorry, I've forgotten all the questions.
Oh, no.
Fucked it. Literally fucked it. And I thought that was it for me. But I've just continued doing it. And eventually you just find that you just realise that the people around don't give a shit what you're doing. Yeah. And if you stop them, they'll either want to do it or they won't want to do it. They'll just they'll keep going. But yeah. It is so fun though. I love it when you get a really good person on the streets. But yeah, I get it. There's I've not, touch wood, had anyone be abusive to me yet.
Yeah. There's always time.
There's always time. Yeah, I know. I mean, to be fair, the questions I ask are very light-hearted, so I don't think I'll ever get that. But yeah, I know people that go up to people straight on the streets with a mic and shove it in their face and expect them to answer straight away. But yeah, I don't do that kind of stuff.
So what's your approach then? Do you stop people and say, "Do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions on camera?" And then
you should always do it that way. I don't agree with intruding in someone else's space. I mean, I've seen it on the street happen, and it's uncomfortable as well. And it doesn't make you look good. It makes you look a douchebag. It makes you look an absolute toolbag. I've seen people do it. Some guy going up to some guy on the street singing Carly Rae Jepsen lyrics, going, "Hey, I just met you," and shoved a mic in this guy's face. And this guy was like, he evidently had some form of social anxiety, and he was like. He just kind of froze, and he kept saying, "What you doing, mate?" Shoving his mic in his face, and I was like, "What you doing, man? You look, just get out." But what I do, I approach people beforehand and talk to them like we are now, and ask them if it's alright if I film a quick TikTok video, and not like 80% of the time they say yes.
Amazing. It's interesting. There's this whole generation of creators that are doing that thing. Filming people or talking to people where the person that they're talking to is the butt of the joke.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think, going back to what you said just a minute ago, there's a different type of people that make content because they know they're going to get views, and they're making it purely for the fact they know they're going to get views, and there's people that enjoy doing it. Mm-hmm. And I think the people that like those people that intrude on people's spaces and go up to people knowing that they're going to get the shock factor. They're doing it purely because they know they're going to get views. They're doing it for the wrong reason, basically.
Yeah. What and I weirdly, because I kind of thought that maybe came out of, maybe not intentionally, but one of Mr. Beast's earlier videos that went viral, where he's like went to give a homeless guy 10 grand. You know, it was a brand video that he did, and it was kind of filmed from behind the scenes. They obviously told him afterwards, and I think maybe it came out of that kind of stuff. But actually, I was watching there is a phenomenal, and I actually recommend this to everyone. This video, I'll send you a link if you haven't already watched it. It's by a guy called Dan Mace.
I love Dan Mace. He works with Casey Neistat and Mr. Beast.
He does. But he about a month ago he released a video. It's about 3 hours long, and it is how to master the art of filmmaking. And he basically takes you through how he created one of the Mr. Beast. What's it called? The charity work that he does, the Mr. Beast Foundation thing. He created one of those videos, and he takes you through how he did it, like in hyper detail, everything from the editing process. But one of the things he said in that is never ever film anyone without them knowing. Never ever do that. Never make sure everyone's fully aware of what's happening. Make sure they sign releases. Do all of these things. And it's basically exactly what you said. If you're filming people and they don't know about it, you're a dick.
You're basically a dick. Yeah. I mean, even when you see these videos pop up on Face, I see them on TikTok, and obviously you quite often see them when they go up to someone and they instantly have a mic in their face. And to me, that just kind of, it's cringy, man. It's cringy not for the person they're interviewing, but for them who are doing it. 'Cause you just can tell they're just desperate to get views.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't agree with it.
So. What gave you the idea? Did you started doing the street interviews yourself before you had any? Or was it a brand that asked you to do it? The
I Am Whole mental health brand, who they approached me first. Well, I worked for their company full time, and it was a project we worked on together. And that's the first fun one I did. And then after that, I kind of went off and did it myself.
Right.
And then kind of got the hang of it, doing it on my own back and just going out and interviewing people on my own with a friend, of course, who would film it. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I had other brands. So I had like a snack brand, Glovecorn, want me to do it for them.
Amazing. I love corn as well. I mean, I would do it for them and just accept corn in payment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll pass your message on.
Thank you.
I work with them quite closely actually. Lovecorn, they're great people. I had another brand. I've had a car insurance company want me to do work with them, cover car insurance. That was fun. Nice. But the funny thing about them is that they're a car insurance company, but none of the questions that that they want me to ask are in any way related to car insurance. So It's like they just get me to ask random questions to people in the street. It's fun. I've had a few people, like, just in general. I'm trying to look back at all the stuff I've done, but I've done quite a lot of like street interview stuff now.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah.
So how much does it differ, the work that you do like privately for brands and the work that you do for yourself? Do you see them as like, are they significantly different in terms of style and structure, or are you using a lot of the same techniques and stuff from an editing perspective that you use across both?
I have a toxic trait where every company I go into, I try to change their style and structure to fit my own, to the point where I purposely rename and reorganize project files to suit my needs over their needs. The thing is, it's hard to work with other people's. They say don't working on other people's like Premiere Pro projects and After Effects projects. You go into it knowing your own way of doing it, and when you see how someone else has like set up their file structure, it just drives me insane. Like, I can't work with this, but like. I
mean, I've file structure. There's just a big question mark over my file structure. It's because it's just only ever me working on stuff. I'm just like dumping stuff in from 10 different locations. I would be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. So I have to have everything all in one place. I have to have like footage in this folder, assets in this folder, all that kind of stuff.
I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get better.
You appreciate it when you get into it, man. You'll appreciate it. Trust me. But like, I've built that into myself since I've started editing. But some companies obviously just don't do that. You have some freelancers they have different places and different things, and then they'll send you a project to work on, and it'll have nothing in it because they've obviously left it in their downloads folder, and it just it drives me insane. But so the vein is coming out of my forehead now. That's pure anger behind that. Yeah, I try my best to. at least encourage some companies that I work with, saying, "Hey, this way of working is much more neater and easier. Look, I can find my files because I popped them in an organized space.
Yeah,
this is what you should do with your. This is what you should do." Yeah, I'd say it's fairly similar. The structure of both personal and work life now.
Okay, and what's the next big project for you? You mentioned you just started filming a vlog. Have you got what more stuff? What's the next big thing for you?
I'm gonna be filming vlogs. I've got a friend who does it quite a lot. Mm-hmm. So having a friend that does it as well is also quite helpful. I'm going to Australia at the end of the year, so I'm going to film a bunch of travel vlogs whilst I'm away, or do stuff whilst I'm away as well.
Wow.
I generally just like making videos, and I guess in terms of where I want to go with it, I have not a Scooby, but when I was really young, I've always known that I've wanted to get into presenting, and one day just have that as a full time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how possible it would be, and I know it's a very demanding job, and I might not get it, but I want to at least try as much as I can to get into presenting and have it as a full time thing.
I love it. Well, it's possible, man. It's all out there. It's all there to be taken, and you definitely got the vibe for it. You definitely got the skills. I can sense it. It feels like there's a space there for you to be doing that kind of stuff. What would the dream job be? Presenting for.
Well, to be fair, I guess if I had a following, doing YouTube videos, presenting YouTube videos, maybe doing a little bit of TV, but then again, TV's dying.
You think? I don't know. It's still pretty big. There's still some stuff on there.
Live TV, I don't think. You get.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, but there's space. There's definitely space for presenters across. Whatever that might be. It could be Netflix, mate. You could be presenting the next big Netflix.
Maybe that'd be fun, but obviously I'm not an actor. But maybe something across something. Maybe there's something big that's coming that we don't realize is coming. Like how we didn't know TikTok was going to be a thing 10 years ago, but now it is.
I mean, Netflix has things like, would you present Is It Cake? Have you seen Is It Cake?
Oh yeah, I have seen Is It Cake. Yeah. Something dumb like that. I want to do something really dumb and get paid to do it.
That sounds ideal to me.
Just be iconic at it, basically. Just be iconic. Just gotta be so skillful at doing something dumb. That's it.
I like it. It's dumb until it's successful, mate, and then it's not dumb.
Exactly.
Well, I've got a bit of a more of a technical question. Well, not technical necessarily, but as someone who is a professional editor and a professional videographer, what's the biggest mistake that you see content creators making from an editing, filming, production point of view, where you go, yeah, this is not right, and this is why?
Too many people trying to copy other people, and to the point where you can see it's obvious that they've done that because they know the other creator does the exact same thing. There's a lot of Mr. Beast mimics out there.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Mr. Beastification of YouTube.
Mr. Beastification. I've watched a guy the other day, and I was like, everything he's doing and saying and acting like in this video, not even just in the edit, it's just the way he's acting as well, is how Mr. Beast would act. Yeah. And I just think that's just, again, what are you doing, mate? You're doing it you're doing it because it's going to get a following. I don't know. Yeah. It's one of those things. I don't know. Without being too cringy, just make your own thing. Yeah. Make your own thing.
Because so much of what it's. Mr. Beast is the trendsetter when it comes to YouTube, and he obviously knows his shit. And I always feel like if you're copying someone else, clearly there's you can ride those coattails a little bit, but it always also means you're always one or two steps behind, because the thing that Mr. Beast is working on now you haven't seen yet. The next thing that Mr. Beast does you haven't seen yet. Yeah, He started talking about, yes, we're changing up our editing style, we're slowing things down. Even he's saying, when I watch some of my old videos, even I'm going now, it's a bit, it's a bit too much. It's a bit in your face. It's too quick. It's too exaggerated.
I like a YouTuber I watch a guy called Ryan Trahan.
Okay.
He's another YouTuber. He's like another Mr. Beast kind of, but his videos are like a lot more relaxed editing style.
Yeah.
I prefer that editing style than what Mr. Beast does. I have done my fair share of editing similar to Mr. Beast, but I would never. It's kind of like you take a piece from everyone and you see what you can make from that as well.
There's a space for it. I think that having watched that Dan Mace thing where it's like the philanthropy side of it, the philanthropy videos, they're a bit more like human interest stories as opposed to we got 1,000 people into a van or whatever.
Yeah.
And there is a space for all of those things, and there's a space for those different editing styles. The way you edit things has an impact on how you experience that thing. If it's a rom-com that's got like just cut every 3 seconds, it's not going to feel romantic. It's going to feel hectic and crazy. And I don't think people necessarily consider the techniques that they're using, partly because they're just self-taught, right? They are copying. It's cut every 3 seconds or whatever. They're not considering what the use case for that is. Whereas actually, I think Mr. Beast is. And he knows what he's doing. And he's doing a thing, but I guess he's also got like, at the age of whatever he is now, is he still in his 20s?
I think he's 25.
At the age of 25, he's got probably like 15 years of experience or something. Doing it. He's been doing it for a long, long time.
Oh yeah, dude. When you hear how old he is, you're like, oh my god, this guy hasn't even. It's mad. It's mad, man. It's absolutely mad.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, we have all this stuff. Like we have YouTube, we have all these outlets and all that kind of stuff. And there's people constantly pumping out content every day, whether you have Mr. Beast or your Mr. Beast copycats and all that kind of stuff. But what is it that you can put out into the world, basically, that can obviously your way of entertaining people, your way of making something that's quite entertaining? And I think what Mr. Beast has done is obviously he's found something that he knows he can make and what he can put out there, and it's working. And that's what he's doing. And I think as soon as you get other people that are doing the exact same thing as what he's doing, I mean, like I said, I've watched a few copycats do it. I just get off, find your own thing, find your own thing, man. But like, yeah. At one point, everyone was trying to be like Casey Neistat. I remember that one as well.
Yeah, I mean, what I find interesting about him is that I'm sure I read a thing where it's like Mr. Beast has said, "Hey, Casey, if you do this, and this, you'll get like 10x more views." And Casey Neistat's like, "Yeah, but I don't want to do this.
I don't want to.
Like, that's not. I don't care. That's not what I'm making it." And he's, obviously still gets big views, but very much is like, I don't know. I part of me hates the self-referencing thing of I'm a content creator.
Yeah.
I think it lessens it, right? I feel like Casey Neistat would view himself as a filmmaker, right?
He's a filmmaker, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a storyteller.
Exactly. And I think the content creation is such a... It's the kind of phrase I would have used in my previous job in marketing. It's wanky. It's such a wanky buzzword phrase.
Yeah. I hate it as well. I used to like it. I thought, content creator sounds like a good title. Yeah. But as the years have gone on, you're like, oh.
Well, the thing is, if you just... it's like if you watched a Scorsese film, you would never go, that was great content from Martin Scorsese. It's like, no, it was a great film. It was a great, piece of art or whatever. And I think we lessen what we do by calling it content creation. I'm
a creative. I make things.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm a visual creative. That sounds better.
Yeah. I was always just like, I just want to make good shit. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me whether it's a book, whether it's a song, whether it's a painting, whether it's a video, whether it's a picture. I just want to make good shit.
I have a question then for you.
Go for it.
What got you into live streaming video games?
I've mentioned this a few times, but I'm a noob in gaming. Like proper. The first console that I properly had, like in recent times, was the PlayStation 5. Yeah. That was when I got into gaming more seriously. I had to switch a little bit before that. Yeah. I mean, the last console that I would have had before the PlayStation 5 was probably a PS2. And there was between that there was nothing. I had a Switch for a year or so before the PlayStation 5, and I got into gaming because my friends were playing Warzone. And I had no way of doing that and I was missing out. I was missing out on social time during lockdowns. So I got a PlayStation 5 and started playing Warzone with them. And I genuinely could not understand. I was like, why would anyone watch someone else play video games? why are these kids? I was like an old man. Why are these kids doing? These kids are crazy, man. Why are they doing that? Now, of course, I started playing Warzone. I was terrible at it. I was shooting bullets into the sky half the time.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, let me go on YouTube and watch some like tips and tricks on how to get better at Warzone. So I started doing that, and then discovered things like Twitch and stuff from there, and started watching Warzone creators. Very quickly realised that Warzone creators are great to watch on YouTube, but they're very, very often, not always, there's some I really like, but they are very often awful on live streams. They hate their community, they hate the game, and it's not nice to watch. So I kind of veered away from that, and then discovered all of these variety creators and gamers, and discovered people like Limmy, who I'd watched Limmy's show, and discovered him streaming, and I was like, oh, this feels like a proper thing, and got quite heavy into that, and I was playing games more and more. And I've done lots of creative things, and when I'm not being creative in some form, I'm unhappy, unfulfilled. So I always have done creative things. I did stand up, I've done music, I did magic, I did, all sorts of things.
I did stand up a little while ago as well. When I say I did it, I attempted stand up. I went to a stand up comedy class, and you know what? I didn't even complete the comedy class. I did like maybe 4 to 5 weeks of it, and then I gave up because I just didn't like it. It just wasn't my thing.
It's tough. I mean, I never did the comedy school thing. I just phoned up somewhere, and if you're in London or around London, there's an open mic night almost every single night of the week.
Oh yeah.
And I just emailed them and said, hey, can I do 5 minutes? It's my first gig, and they said, yep, come down, do 5 minutes. And when I did it, and the first one was great, the second one was horrible, and it kind of went up and down like that for a while. But I just wanted to do something creative, and I was playing video games, and a bit like you, it's like, well, I'm doing this, why not do it?
Yeah.
Why not do, if I'm going to do it anyway, why not do it? But then I was like, okay, if I want to do this properly and have an actual impact, that's when I had to have a conversation with my fiance and said, hey, I really need a schedule because I'm just kind of doing this as and when, and it's not really working that way. And same thing, I've just stuck to it for the longest time. But the live stream has become less important to me in terms of my creativity and the creation stuff. My YouTube videos, this podcast, the content that I make on the short form content is much more important to me and much more fulfilling to me. The live stream is my chance to perform and chat with my community. I love that about it, but like I feel like I don't feel like I'm a live streamer. I feel like I'm going to call myself a content creator for ease, but I'm a content creator who also live streams rather than a live streamer that creates content.
Because I'm like, I think some of the people that watch me and some of my moderators will agree that I am not tech savvy. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to anything. Like, I didn't know what Discord was until last year, and I have had loads of people help me, which is great. Like build something. Like, I've had Chloe and Cheryl, two of my moderators. Shout out to them too.
Yes, they are both brilliant.
Both brilliant. And I've had other people like Amy and all that help me as well. They're great. Just everyone's friendly. Everyone's so friendly. I see myself more as a person that has fun in front of a camera, or make stuff. I just enjoy that kind of stuff. And I don't know where it's going to take me, and I don't know how long I'll be doing streams for, but like, for as long as I'm doing it and it's like the audience is still there and I'm still vibing together, I'm enjoying it, so I'm keeping it there.
Yeah, man. And I think the good thing about it is, especially once you built a community in there for you rather than the game, whether you're traveling or no matter what you're doing, you can pick up your phone and you can go live and you can have.
That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to kind of I tried doing that when I was in South America, but found it awfully difficult. Not just because I wasn't doing well, but I think I was focused too solely on trying to be able to go gaming whilst I'm traveling, and it just doesn't work. 2 and 2 don't work together unless you. I know a few other creators. So, for example, a guy called Scott Sinister that I've watched as well. He's very much he's very much dedicated. He's gone and bought himself a laptop with everything prepared for that reason. Where I've kind of half-assed it. I've got a laptop that works and didn't really bother looking into how I'd get. It's just too much work for something that's like. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I am excited to see what you do next, and I am I love your vibe, man. I think you got great energy, you got a great vibe, and I'm excited to see it. And I'm gonna have to steal you for a little bit, and you can show me some of your Premiere Pro projects and take me through that, man. Cause,
of course, man, no worries.
I'm getting better every day, but honestly, you wouldn't like to see my projects. They're all very messy.
I can show you how I have them laid out if you want, if it helps. But obviously, everyone has their own way of editing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But I appreciate your time, man. And like I said, I'm excited to see what you do next, whatever that might be. And,
yeah, dude, fantastic. It's been great being on it. I hope what I've said today is useful.
Of course, man. Of course. This is all about everyone's stories. It's just about, it's about you. So if it's authentic, then it's useful, I think.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me on.
No worries, man. No worries.
My camera's actually right here, so the screen is there, so I can actually. It's weird. Yeah, I'm trying my best.
No worries, man. We're all good.